All right, Dad, I started recording and I'm going to ask you some questions about what is Valor Restorations and how it came to be. For those that don't know, I'm Brendan Logsdon and this is my father, Jeff Logsdon. So when did this whole thing start?
It started by accident. I had sold a company, and of course, when you sell a company, you buy your favorite old cars, right? So, kind of littered the parking lot at the house, and Joy actually found a building on 3159, a pretty good size building and big enough for my cars.
And for those that don't know, tell them who Joy is.
Joy is Grandpa Logston's wife.
And we're
Best mate.
Logsdons, so that's my grandpa, his father. But yeah, where we're at today, this wall behind us, there's a whole backstory to this, but today we're kind of focusing on Valor. And I remember hearing, I was in college at the time, that my dad had purchased an old mechanic shop to
Armadillo Automotive.
Armadillo. It's on a really special road that goes right to Canyon Lake, and there's one way in, one way out. 3159 is the name of the highway. So, why did you decide to start working on these cars?
Well, I sold the company. I had a cybersecurity company. Always had a car in the garage. I was working on. My grandpa, my dad, those guys, taught me how to work on cars, and I always enjoyed it. It's very therapeutic. But I bought too many. So then I ended up, Joy found Armadillo Automotive for sale, and it was a great deal on the building. And I thought, hey, I'll just put my cars in there and have a man cave in the other part of the, which is now a machine shop. But I thought, hey, I'll work on my cars here, have a good time. And what happened was people just kept pulling in. I had a similar problem to everybody else. That I couldn't find good mechanical paint and body people that knew how to restore cars, that had a process that they followed, that had an idea of what it would cost. So people just kept coming in. So I was like, well, if they want a paint job, let's give them a paint job. So I found a guy on Craigslist who was a painter, and he and I went out and bought a used paint booth and put it in the building, and we started, I think, painting your grandpa's Dorn's truck was the very first paint job that we did.
Clifford, right?
Clifford.
Yeah, I remember Clifford. That was a good old truck.
So the more people kept coming in, I was like, well, there must be some raw demand here for these kind of services. And I love these. I love restoring things like this dance hall, which I was told to tear down, but no, we restored it. I'm trying to restore myself. I'm trying to
That's awesome.
Restore everybody I run into. I like to leave things better than I found them. It's just in my nature to want to do that, and doesn't always happen, but you try, right? And
yeah,
it started accidentally when you were away in college, and you come home in the summers and help me fix up the building, and eventually you were actually restoring cars in about 2014, weren't you?
Yeah, I remember.
Truck?
I don't know if you'd call it restoring, but I was taking them apart. And I'll never forget, there was an old truck of a great customer of ours that was used for cattle, and there was a lot of cattle dung underneath the fender wells. And when I was trying to get those bolts loose, a lot of that fell into my face, sometimes my mouth, I hate to admit. But I earned a respect for the guys that are restoring these cars, because it's not always pretty work, but the finished product is something that you can't really buy it instantly, because it's something that's earned, especially if it's a sentimental value car. So I'm going to take a step back and say, okay, so now you have this building, you've got this demand. How did you come up with the idea of Valor? The name?
Oh, just the word Valor, to me, it says everything about what's in your heart, and it's an aim. And I heard Valor Christian had used that name in Denver, Colorado, and a lot of the boys that you grew up with that we were coaching and making into athletes went to that school. And I looked it up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a great word. It's something to aspire to, and you don't have to be military to have it. Although we do cater to the military, and we love those guys. Our whole family was military. We weren't, but anyway. So that's why I chose that word, because it's something that I think we should all aspire to be like, and I think Christ embodies that and carried that out in his life. So that's an aim high word.
That's awesome. Well, I've grown to love that. We had a basketball team. We were called Valor. We had these really cool camouflage uniforms. And in the hill country, we would travel to Austin and have some smaller teams with smaller guys, but we played with a lot of heart. And that word started to mean more and more to me as we had the basketball team, and now we're restoring very difficult projects. So it's pretty awesome. Um, so when did you get into mechanical fully? Was it paint jobs for several years and then you started to introduce mechanical, or did it all start and you thought we could do all of this? We just need to hire the right people.
Right. It was one of those, the answer is yes, the question's how. Anybody that would pull in and need something done, we would go, okay, the answer is yes, then we'll figure it out.
Uh-huh.
And I don't have any classical training. I like, from grandpa going, give me a half-inch socket to, now I'm actually hands-on working on cars, learning it myself.
Uh-huh.
I learned that I didn't have that much skill at it. The more skilled people I put around me, the more I learned I didn't know. And I also learned how important that was, that you have to acquire talent, take great care of the talent and that you do have, and then you have a sustainable business if you can do that. So it took a few years, and then I sort of became an office person, which is what I'm actually good at. And it's a little embarrassing how much better the mechanics are than me at wrenching.
Yeah.
And they're, you found that out too, right? They're just these
Yep.
guys have special skills. They got great talent. And I call it that because it is, and I really try to reward it.
I feel like the more you learn about a vehicle and going back to its functions, the more you realize that you don't know, because you're like, okay, I'm going to do this brake drum job that says it should be a weekend job, but you're sitting here trying to do everything by yourself, pulling a spring. Something so small could take forever, and you could break a bolt of an old rusty part, because how old are these cars now? Are they 60, 70 years old?
Yeah, we we'll do some dent side stuff from the late 70s, but mostly we call it 8-track and back, like 73 and older, when 8-tracks came out and cars got smaller and less interesting, like the Mustang II, right? Nobody wants to restore those. So we sort of settled in on 73 and back.
Oh.
And then we don't really have a passion for stuff from the 20s and 30s. And so we sort of meet where our customers are, which is people in my age range,
Uh-huh.
60 years old. Those cars were around when they were kids, and it is wildly attractive seeing one in great condition this many years later. And there's a lot of people that are into it. So did I answer your question?
Yes. Well, we're going to do a short segment here. We're going to upload this. It's going to be one of many videos, because we're going to talk about classic car restorations. We're going to talk about the building restoration, what is involved in that. We're going to talk about what we do as a business, how we can help you with your restoration, and how we can help restore your life. I know a lot about diabetes, being a type 1 diabetic, so I'm going to have a whole new segment on that. But our theme is restoration. We're starting this podcast to educate customers and just have some fun with it. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Good job, dude.